The Athena Ronae Show.
On this segment of the Athena Ronae Show, we have a fun new segment that I have invented called Cool Jobs. I know so many people that have the coolest jobs. So I want to introduce you to J and J, or J Boy and J Jackson. So I thought it would be so fun to have them on the show to tell some of the stories of the job that they have had. Started by you, right?
All right.
Yeah. So they have some of the coolest experiences too. For instance, so we're going to start with this. This is what made me think of his job, because I'd already thought of this cool jobs thing. And I saw this post on Facebook the other day, and it was him. He was sitting there with a cigar. And where were you?
We were at the Opryland Event Center. Jamie Johnson, who's a client of ours and has been for a long time, was inducted in Grand Ole Opry. And they were having this big after party dinner event. And we got an invitation, so we were sitting there when the night you're talking about at the Opryland Event Center.
And so Kid Rock was smoking a cigar, and he was about to get in trouble for smoking inside. So he sees him and hands him the cigar really quick, knowing nobody's going to fuss at him. So he's sitting there with Kid Rock's cigar looking all cool in the picture.
He said, they won't let me smoke in here. You smoke it.
Yeah.
And just walked off.
So they got pictures of him. So,
and another thing, everybody that knows me really well knows I've never had a drink in my life. I've never smoked in my life, ever.
Yes.
Never smoked. But I took that cigar and I never put it in my mouth, but I was sitting there holding it like that. And somebody took a picture of me sitting there holding it, and it went all over the world. And I got all kinds of questions about that. Didn't know you smoked and all that kind of stuff. But that guy just kind of stood there, that security guy, and looked at me for a minute or two, didn't say a word.
He just walked off.
He turned around, walked away. I handed back to old Bobby, Kid Rock. I handed back to him. He started smoking. He finished smoking. And anyway, I thought that's kind of funny. The guy, I don't know why he thought, shoot, that old guy, I ain't gonna say nothing to him if he is smoking it. I don't know what he was thinking, but it wasn't right for Kid Rock smoking, but it was going to be all right if I did.
I thought that was the sweetest, funniest little picture. But that's just because everybody loves you so much. You are an icon in the industry. So we need to tell everybody what you guys do so they know what your job has been for how long now?
Well, and I've had 3 careers. I spent 15 years chasing that musical dream. And I moved to Nashville in 1962 from Los Angeles, where I was a gospel singer at that time, singing in a group called the Songfellows Quartet. And then I put a pizza joint in Madison, another suburb, and then another pizza joint. I wound up, the restaurant business was a lot better for me than the music business was. So I spent 15 years in that. And then I finally got tired of that, working 100 hours a week and all that junk. So I hung up that deal and bailed out and thought I had enough money to quit, and realized that you ain't never got enough money to quit. And but anyway, that was kind of my transition from several interesting jobs to another interesting job. And I wound up I worked for Conway Twitty after I got out of the restaurant business for 3.5 years in a company that he owned called Concessions Management. And I was the first sales type person he had there. He had a small crew that ran a printing shop that he had started just to do Conway's merchandise. And then everybody else kept calling him, wanting him to do theirs, and wound up to be a pretty big company. So I worked for him for 3.5 years. And then I started a company called Screenplay, because I'd worked for myself for a long time, and I always liked working for myself better than I liked working for somebody else. So I started Screenplay. And now J-Boy runs it. I hadn't worked since 2012. But through that, we've met all kinds of interesting people, and most,
including me.
Including you.
I'm the most interesting.
We have watched the McDowell family grow up. We met Ronnie about the time before, actually.
Well, you'd actually met him in the 70s.
We'd met him
before King is gone.
Before the King is gone.
Really? I didn't know that.
But after Well, I had this Papa John pizza joint, and I had built a building there that seated 216 people. I had a balcony around three sides and a big stage over the kitchen, and it was, we played country music and sold Italian food in there. And it was the place to go for a lot of years. And I quit in 78, I believe. And first thing you know, boom, here's Ronnie McDowell, the king is gone, so all them chances
To get him down there.
get him down there.
No.
It's kind of like right before The King Is Gone came out. I think they were out.
And I was always going to see if I could get him to come down Papa John's and sing as a guest sometime. And never got that far because he was superstar overnight when that deal hit.
Yeah.
And so we've been friends with your daddy for a long time, watched you kids grow up. And I'm proud of all of you. And I really am.
Thank you.
And when I say McDowell, I say something about what a good looking family. The girls are pretty. The old daddy still looks great. And the boys look good. And they done a
Thank
good
you.
job making
Daddy,
pretty
it's
kids.
amazing. Yeah.
And that's just another interesting part of our job.
I know. You see my brother Tyler?
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
He's
man.
disgustingly gorgeous.
Yeah, we know
So
both
he's
of
beautiful.
them. And,
Yeah.
and we love and respect your family.
Not that my other brother's not gorgeous brother. Sorry.
Ronnie's gonna love
Yeah,
it.
they're gorgeous. I thought about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, how old are you now?
52.
Wow. So,
Yeah,
I knew we were around the
Yeah.
same age, but I couldn't remember. And
Yeah,
I
a little bit
remember
older.
when I was a teenager, you were in the store working all
Oh,
the
yeah,
time.
absolutely.
Just loved it. It was
Yeah.
like your passion.
Yeah,
so,
my first involvement with T-shirts, I went on the road with NASCAR when I was 13, selling
Wow.
shirts in a trailer all day. And then we got into this business. I went on the road with went on the road with the Headhunters quite a bit back in their early days when somebody was out or whatever. And then they were just fun to hang out with, whether you're working with them or
oh,
not.
yeah. Yes.
And but yeah, and then I'd run machines and print shirts and do artwork or whatever needed to be done. You know, I just did it.
Huh.
But yeah,
How
I've
fun.
been working in it since I was 13. So
That's crazy. I remember
it's
that. I
long, yeah.
remember coming up there and
Oh,
you were
yeah.
always there and you
yeah,
just were
always there.
so business-like at such a young age.
Yeah, I probably get
So,
over that.
But he had been a drummer in a little group called Little
That was later on.
Zaz later. He was really a good drummer, and I figured that's what he's going to wind up doing, you know. But he wound up, he liked that T-shirt business, and it was it made a little more money than most of the hillbillies did riding up and down the road in the back of the bus playing the
little
drums.
bit.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway,
remember you and your big old long stretch collars with your big Rolexes, diamond ring.
He always likes the gaudy stuff.
Yeah.
Don't get too
I
gaudy.
always
Don't
loved
get too gaudy for
I
him.
like little glitter, little sparkle. And
I think that's why him and Kid Rock hit it off so much.
I think it
They
is.
are very much alike. Yeah.
Well, it's weird. They're like polar opposites, but yet they're just love each other. It's weird. It's kind of weird.
Merle Kilgore, who was Hank Jr.'s manager for a lot of years, was our neighbor when we first moved here in California. And we both bought houses in a subdivision called Parkwood in in Hendersonville.
I was in
It was actually in Nashville.
Nashville on Dickerson Road.
I'm naming every town around here so far. But anyway, Merle was working for Hank, and Hank gave him some pretty expensive rings, and then he bought some too. But he was like me; he always liked that glitter and big cars. And when
They're
you
very similar.
when you see Merle Kilgore, Merle goes say, "Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?" He'd hold them hands up in front
You
of
can
you.
see it.
You see
Yeah,
his
he's always-
watch, you see all of his rings. So I kind of done a little bit of that too. And the first time I met Kid Rock had met Merle.
Now, they were close
Through
friends.
Hank Jr., they become close friends too. So the first time I met Kid Rock was many years ago at Starwood, used to be a venue here. And he walks up and he goes, "Hello, sir." Hey, he done one of these Merle Kilgore.
And they were
imitations.
friends of Merle's, you know.
Yeah.
And he threw those hands out in front of him like that, and I responded the same way. So when we were over there that night you referred to earlier in the show, we're sitting there and he said, lay your hands out on this table. So we have a little bling show here. And this stuff I got is all from the 60s. He had, like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff on it. And I told him, I said, I can't compete with you. He said, I'll put your hands out there. And then he started putting his hands on top of mine. So that's what that shot is on that video of a bling show was at that Jamie Johnson
Oh, I didn't see that one. I'll have to
I'll
look that
send
one
it
up.
to you.
Okay.
Look, see
Yeah.
that. I've had more comments about that than anything.
Oh.
My hands are sitting there interwoven with Kid Rock's, and there's rings on everybody's hand.
Oh.
Kid Rock still kind of blew his away, but still.
It made me
That's fun.
made me look like a pawn shop, Mr. T starter kid or something.
Oh, you don't look like a pawn shop. Believe me.
Anyway, that's just another interesting step that's come to us through being in that merchandising business and meeting the people we've met and the jobs I have had. And they've all been pretty cool. But all of that background kind of made me decided that I wanted to do something where I could control it a little bit better than I could if I was working by the hour somewhere, which I'd already done all that. First year out of high school, I started mentioning while I go to finish, and I couldn't zero in on what I really want to do. I changed jobs 7 times my first year out of high school. And I never felt like I was called to do any of that stuff. I worked in a Chevrolet factory. I was a landscaper. I drove a furniture truck delivering furniture. And I had several other varieties of work, none of which I liked, none of which I made as much money as I thought I was worth. But I thought I was supposed to be a guitar picker and gonna make big money and do big things.
Yeah, but it was serendipity for you to come
It
here.
kind of was, but it gave me the drive I think I needed to step out there. And
Yeah, but in this area, you're famous for what you do. Everybody knows you guys. Both of
Well,
you are famous
you know, we've
in
been
the country
lucky.
music industry.
We have done merchandise over those years. The 37 years we've been in that business, we've done merchandise for everybody in the world. I mean, super duper stars.
Yeah.
And
So what they have is called Screenplay, and it is merchandising where the artists come to them. So shirts, hats, anything that they sold.
Anything entertainers sell at concerts, from keychains
Right.
to magnets, whatever.
Right, on the
All
road.
right.
So that's what he eventually started as his business that they have done for how many years now?
37.
37 years. So yeah, and I'm 48, and I met you when I was a teenager,
Oh, yeah.
and you were a teenager,
Yeah,
like I said,
absolutely.
working
Yep.
in the business.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what they've done. So they have known just about every country music singer that has lived in this area, and not just country music, like you said. So
Yeah,
that's why I think your job is so cool, because not only did you guys do that business, you got to be friends with all of these
a
people.
lot of some of them are our best friends. You know.
Most,
Right.
most
Yeah.
of our friends today are in the entertainment business
Right.
because we've been around them for all those years. And then I had that little bit of history of picking and singing
Yeah.
back in those early days.
Of course, he met like Hank Jr., one of our biggest customers. He met him, and when Hank was
he's
15,
like 15
14
years old
maybe.
when I met him.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
when he
met
worked for
Johnny
Hank Snow.
Cash in 1956 in California, and a
Wow.
lot of those other entertainers out there.
Wow. So this question I want to do separate for both of you guys. What is the best memory of the coolest thing you've ever got to do because of your job?
Wow.
Or one of the coolest? How about that?
Man, there's been so many of them.
A lot of it's just the people we've met, for me probably, and people that you wouldn't expect to meet. You know, like I got to meet H.W. Bush. You know, never thought I'd meet a president because of our job, which was kind of cool. You know, and then people like John Daly and Steve Martin and just people that you wouldn't ever think you'd. You know, and it's just interesting to see what they're like. And, you know, they're not involved in country music, but we see them all the time and know. You know exactly what they're like. It's just the people you meet, and I think it's been the funnest part for me. Just different people, you know.
That's so fun.
I think probably I've had a couple of highlights, but you know, Johnny Cash, I mentioned him earlier, was I love your daddy as much as anybody I know, and I think you know that. He knows that, I think. But there's something about old Johnny that was a special kind of a guy. And he used to call me when I was still in the restaurant business. And he'd call and he'd say, "How do you feel this evening?" And I feel great. And he said, "I was going to see if you want to bring pizza by the house when you leave work." And, you know, we didn't close until 11 o'clock through the week. We closed at 1 o'clock on Friday and Saturday nights. And then by the time you got out of there, you'd add another hour to that. But most of those entertainers, night owls. I mean, Ain't none of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
They sleep in the daytime, go to bed, whatever, 4
I
o'clock
still
in the
do
morning.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still
Me
do
too.
that myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, he'd call me and he'd say, run a pizza by if you feel up to it. So I'd take, and I always knew what they wanted. And John Carter was a little bitty guy. And I'd go by there and I'd sit there and a time or two till daylight, shooting a breeze, and he'd get a guitar and pick and sing me a new song he'd written and stuff like that. And half the time you'd be sitting in a bedroom, which had 2 big beds in it. And it had 2 couches and 2 or 3 chairs. And I mean, it was like a living room with beds in it. It was great big. That house on the lake is where it was. And all, it didn't have a lot of rooms, but they were huge. I mean, those rooms were. But just to sit in a house with Johnny Cash, who I come as close to idolizing that dude as anybody. I don't think I idolized anybody. But if I had to pick one guy that's set apart from the rest of the world, and I mean, his friends were Billy Graham. They had a dinner at his house one time. Billy Graham was a special guest, and they invited us and we couldn't go.
Oh, no.
And that's been one thing I've always
regret.
had 2 or 3 regrets. But I look back on that night and I thought, crap, I should have shut this sucker down to go to meet Billy Graham, because I always idolized him too as being a warrior for his cause,
Yeah, especially with your dad too.
And my
Yeah,
dad
exactly.
being a preacher, my granddad was a preacher. I have one brother as a preacher.
Wow.
And I always loved him, wanted to meet him, Thought, crap, I had the best chance in the world. And I didn't get to go.
But when I said these guys have a cool job, he got to take pizza to Johnny Cash and hang out with him in his house. So when I said they have a cool job, I mean they have a cool job, because who gets to do that? So that's why I thought you guys have the coolest stories and you have the coolest life, because it was serendipity for you to be brought here through all of that. And then you get to hang out with one of the legends, not just in country, he's just a legend.
In general,
You got to hang out in his house and eat pizza. So, like I said, when I said they had a cool job, they have a cool job. Well, you guys, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
We've enjoyed it, and
It has been a ball.
Always good to see you.
I hope you don't ruin your reputation by putting us on there.
I will not. I promise you I won't. Well, thank you so much for coming.
We love you.
Thank you.
And
Love you
your
guys
family.
too.
Love you. Good to
I don't
see
know
you.
if we can breathe.
Oh, we-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it
Thank
so
you
much.
so
See ya.
much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
On this segment of the Athena Ronae Show, I'm here with Miss Jeanette Wirz. She is Jeanette Wirz Cosmetics and Microblading, Permanent Cosmetics and Microblading. That is her company. And I actually have been a client of hers, so I wanted to interview her because I thought that this would be something you guys would be so interested in learning. She does a ton. There's one thing we're going to focus on right now, but tell us a little bit about what you do.
We are a permanent cosmetic studio. We do microblading, we do eyeliner, we do lips, lip blushing. We also teach. We have an apprenticeship program. We do areola tattooing. We do just a little bit of everything in the permanent cosmetic world.
Yeah, and you are gorgeous, so I love everything. Yeah, so when I saw you, honestly, I was like, okay, she's my lady because she looks amazing. So I absolutely love how old you are. I know that's terrible to say, but you were just saying that.
That's
but
okay.
you look fabulous.
Well, thank you.
I mean, she's like my goals over here. Yeah, definite goals. So, what we were going to focus on today is something that I just think is fabulous that you do for women. She actually does 3D areola reconstruction, I guess you would say, of...
It's a 3D areola tattoo
Okay.
for ladies who have had breast cancer or have had breast reductions or have lost a nipple to any type of, or areola, for any type of surgery, men and women.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know you did it for men too. That's great.
Yes, ma'am. Men also get breast cancer, so we have to do restoration of the areola nipple for men also. It's quite a passion of mine. I really enjoy doing it for ladies.
That is wonderful, yes. And I'm sure they enjoy that you do it too, because what a hard, traumatic thing to have to go through, and then to find someone to make it all better.
Yes.
And yes, that
Yes.
is amazing.
It is, the ladies that I work with are quite amazing, the journey that they have been on, and I am their last, basically I'm the end of the journey, basically, when they're completely through with all of the other things that they have overcome. They get their areolas tattooed, and it's just an honor to be able to do it for them.
Yeah, I had a family member who actually, unfortunately, had a mastectomy, and it was probably, I want to say, in the 70s or 80s, and they didn't offer things like this.
A lot of ladies don't know that there is 3D areola tattooing available to them.
Mhm.
So we do offer that.
Yes, so if you guys know anyone who is going through breast cancer and having a mastectomy, what they do is go in and fully reconstruct the nipple area to look 3D.
To look 3D.
Yes, so it actually looks like you have the nipple and the areola still there. It's like they never took it away. So it really helps to gain confidence for these women, because, you know, it feels, probably for some people they're okay, but for some people it feels like they've stripped their womanhood away, you know. And I kind of have been a little bit in their shoes with what I've went through, but not anything like that. So what they went through was so much more traumatic. But when I breastfed my 3 children, so I'm going to tell you guys, share a little bit of TMI for you guys, my story. So I breastfed 3 children. And when I got finished, literally it was like hands. They were terrible. It was like something on a movie. And I was embarrassed in front of my husband. And one of the worst things, I would go to the pool and wear a bathing suit, and nothing would hold them where they were supposed to be, and they'd just fall out. So I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing. So nothing like what those poor women have went through at all. So I actually had surgeries at Mayo Clinic where they gutted me from here down, cut my abs in half, and I had that 3 times in 5 months. So all the way from here down, twice here, once all the way from my belly button down. So after my last surgery, you know what I did? I said, I'm going to go do something for me. So I was recovering from this major surgery. They have to do therapy to teach you how to get out of bed and off of a chair and to walk. You know, it's terrible recovery. And I thought, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go do something for me. And I actually went and had a lift.
Oh, yeah.
But I was, like most women are, I was terrified about the scars.
Yes.
Absolutely terrified. But I had heard that you could get the tattoo and it would cover it up, and it was like it never happened. So I was so grateful for you guys, because that changed everything for me, because I felt like a full woman again. And it wasn't embarrassing to be in front of my husband, you know. So
Yes.
I was so grateful for that. And it really made a difference for me. So I appreciate it. Yeah, and what you do is such an amazing service for these women, because they've been through so much. So I thank you for what you do. It's wonderful for them.
Well, it's a pleasure to be able to do it for them,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about the procedure and how that works?
Yeah, it's a 3 to 4 hour appointment. And what we do is we have them come in, they fill out their paperwork, of course, and then we do a consultation. We talk about the size of the areola and nipple that they would like. Sometimes they bring me photographs of their breasts before they've had their mastectomies. So it gives us an idea of what the color and what shape of areola that we're going to recreate for them. Then we do the marking. We choose color. We do some color matching. They're involved, and these ladies and gentlemen are involved in the entire process of us picking out color, of shape. They get the final decision and everything that we do for them. Then we lay them down on the table and we start the procedure. And it takes me about, I would say, an hour to an hour and a half on each side. Healing is relatively very easy. We provide them their aftercare cream, their bandages, even the dial soap. I give them dial soap if they don't have soap at home. I want to make sure that they get home with everything they need. Then they come back and see me again. And usually about 8 weeks, I like to wait a substantial amount of time to make sure that they are completely healed before we do their follow-up. The follow-up is included in the price of the service. I am a national provider, so I do have an NPI number for insurance.
Wow.
So it enables them to get reimbursed through their insurance company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
which I'm very happy that I was able to get an NPI number to do that for them. And then we do their follow-up appointment. The follow-up appointment usually lasts about an hour, hour and a half, if it's even needed. And we take their before and after pictures and that kind of thing. And then, of course, if they ever needed a third application, I never charge them for that. If they're down the road, if there's something that they need to be taken care of, something faded, what have you, we always honor what we do.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I enjoy
That
doing
is
it.
great. So how similar is it to the procedure that I had, which I know mine was very minimal, but how similar was that to what I did?
Okay, so you had a lift, and we tattooed the scars of the lift. So basically, it's very similar, actually.
Okay.
It's very, very similar. We were just adding color back to your areola and not really creating a nipple.
Right.
But the basic procedure and the healing time and the after care and everything is basically exactly the same
Okay.
as if we had done a mastectomy
Okay.
patient.
And the reason I asked that question, a lot of you guys are going to be thinking your first thought, which was mine, how painful is it?
Yes.
And I can tell you, no, not at all.
Right.
I mean, it was not bad. They actually numb everything. Doesn't completely numb it, but not bad at all. I was actually really worried, like a lot of people will be. And that's probably their first thought.
Right.
How that's not going to hurt. But it was not bad at all. Actually, my microblading hurt a little bit worse than that.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see
a
that.
little bit worse.
What I do for the client is if there is to be discomfort, I absolutely will numb them, and they really should, like you said, have very minimal pain during the procedure, and they can take Tylenol when they leave the appointment. They can use ice. There's usually not a lot of discomfort even after the appointment. It might feel like a slight burn, like a sunburn, something like that, but it shouldn't affect their going on with their day in any way.
Yeah, so you can go right back to your job even.
Oh, yes.
So you don't even have to go home and rest, anything. So that
Not
part's
at
great.
all. Not
Yeah,
at
and
all.
nobody will even know you had anything done because it's not like you have huge gauze sticking out or anything. It's just, slight little cover up and you're good. So
And you're
yeah.
good. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, I thank you for taking care of so many women and helping them to feel whole again.
Yes, that's one of the things they always tell me. They always tell me, I don't know why I waited so long to complete this journey. And when I look in the mirror, when I get out of the shower, it makes me feel whole again. That's one thing I definitely hear a lot.
That makes me want to
It's a
cry.
joy. It's a joy to do
Yes.
it. It really is.
Because I know just my small comparison to theirs, it made me feel like that, and I wanted to cry when I left here also. I felt whole again too.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Some of my basically family that has been in my life since I was probably
You were just a
about
little thing.
Maybe 13 years old, 12, 10,
maybe
I don't
even younger
know.
than that.
That's something I wanted to ask you guys. So welcome to
Oh, thank you
Doug
for having
and
us.
Greg from the Kentucky Headhunters.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
And hello, Athena.
Hello. So these guys, like I said, have been a part of my life since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Isn't that the term that people say?
Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to ask that. How old were you guys when you started? And about what year was it when you started playing with my dad?
Well, October of 1981.
Yep.
Oh, how do you know it so specifically?
Well, because it was a part of our life and a part of our journey.
It was absolutely October '81. It was a godsend
Wow.
for me and you too, really.
Absolutely.
It was fate, pretty much. I was 28. I was 28 years old. I know.
Is that
I was 20.
I'm 69
Wow.
now.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, these guys were a part of my dad's band before they started the Kentucky Headhunters, or actually, you kind of started that before, and then you left Dad to go pursue your own thing. So, they were a part of Dad's band for how many years?
81 to 89.
8.5 for me.
Wow.
You left about 3 months before
About
I
3
did,
months before you
because you
did.
had
When we were back
parent
to-
duties.
Yes, and it was just before we were in negotiations to sign our deal. So,
Wow. So I
but yeah.
cannot believe that you remember that so specifically from so long ago. And you guys, to me, seemed so much older than me back then. And so if
Well,
you
you were.
were in
Yeah.
81.
81.
So I was, oh gosh.
What,
so I was born in
6 or
73. So I thought I was
8?
older.
About
Yeah.
8 years old.
So see, you seemed a lot older, but now that gap is not very far then.
That's
'cause-
That's the way it works.
yeah.
That's what happens.
So that is amazing to me that it was only that short of a time too, because it seemed like you were with Dad like my whole childhood.
Well, I mean,
Kinda,
those formative
yeah.
years, definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
from whatever 8 to 17.
October.
16, 17. Yeah.
Yeah. It was October, like I say, October '81. We started. Doug and I auditioned the same day,
Yeah.
and Doug had to go back and take care of some school.
I was my junior year in college, and dropped out of college. Come over here and play
play with
music
Dad?
and hit the road.
Great.
So,
And then you left. I think you left in the spring of '89.
March, I think, about
and then I
March.
left in June. Then my cousin Anthony came in and took my place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember him well, of
Anthony
course.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh no, 8.5 years, and it was a great time. I mean, it was a great era for us. We learned a lot. I mean, I was playing rock and roll before that with Richard and Fred. And our record deal didn't work out with Itchy Brother, and in the fall of '81, of course, I was. My wife, we were married, and I had two step-kids, and I'm going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then one afternoon, Joe Getsy called and said he was leaving Ronnie's band to go on a cruise ship, and he said, would you be interested in playing with Ronnie? I said, well, I need a job, and I want to play music. And I went down one afternoon, auditioned, and Ronnie said, well, can you do Hee Haw tomorrow? So the next day I literally got thrown into Hee Haw, and we played a CBS
Wow.
record show with Merle Haggard at the Opera House, and then the next weekend we went to Laurel, Mississippi, and I can't tell you after that, it was a blur, right? Doug?
it was a
We
blur.
call that being on the
Well,
road.
Yeah.
It took me about another week after we'd auditioned, and we both ended up getting the job. And so I went back, dropped out of school, packed up the truck, and moved to Beverly, well, Nashville. But anyway, it was a '65 Chevy pickup. But so then that next week, that when I was here, Jackie Brazel was still playing bass, but he was moving. He was going to be the sound man, and so I was taking his place. And I just went out and viewed everything,
That's right.
experienced everything that first weekend for me.
I think it was Ohio. Do you remember that?
It was, yeah. I remember the big nice theater we
What
played
a
there.
memory you
So-
guys
Oh,
have. That's
I don't
amazing.
remember. I don't know where I was at yesterday.
Right.
So I guess in your 20s then, that had to have been like an amazing musician's dream come true to be on Hee Haw like the next day. I mean,
Oh,
that's
it was a great,
crazy.
It was a great break.
That's
it
really
was.
great.
It really was
Yeah.
to be able to to do what you love and make a living at it. And Ronnie was a good boss.
He was great to work
I always
for.
said there's been times he should have just kicked us right off the bus. Defiant
Oh, I
little
heard some
punk.
stories today on the phone that I can't share with everybody, but they were some fun ones. Yeah.
we had. Yes, we
love
had,
Ronnie.
We had a great time working with Ronnie.
I'll say one of those stories, I won't tell it, but it involved poor Barbara Rippey, who is one of Dad's biggest fans. You're going to know that.
Yeah,
Was it-
Barbara.
You knew what I was talking about.
Was it having
instantly.
something to do with Martin Kicklighter, maybe?
I don't know who all was involved.
Well, that'd be one
I
for-
think it may. Your face is red.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, we know some
I
stories.
didn't know that story, but I was like, oh my gosh,
The
that sounds just
Headhunters-
like them.
The Headhunters is a cakewalk. Everybody thinks we're a bunch of
Yeah.
wild, frenzied, crazy.
Yeah.
And the
We're-
Ronnie McDowell, the Rhythm Kings were like the Rolling Stones
Well, you know, that's
in a good way.
that's another part of our experience out there with Ronnie is that he kind of really allowed us to kind of be ourselves.
He did.
And he used us on many, many demos. So we got experience in the
Yeah, we
studio after time, after time, after time. And then eventually we played on 2 of his CBS record albums.
right.
He used his band on his studio
Oh, that's
as
great.
his record label
Was that
albums.
unusual then?
Yeah, oh,
Yes,
yes,
it
that was
was.
very
Really?
unusual
I didn't
then.
know
So
that. I just thought
Ronnie-
it was normal.
No,
I didn't know that.
No, it was
No,
usually
no.
usually the studio guys, and so he kind of stuck his neck out and
He did.
and,
he did.
and let us do it.
And Dick Whitehouse, who was the head of MCA at the time, got behind us. He saw the band live, and then Buddy Killen fell in and went for it.
Yeah.
And we did I'm Still Missing You, which was a really good album. And it was kind of it was taking Ronnie back to his roots of
Yeah, the
kind of
rockabilly
50s
and
rockabilly and, you know.
Yeah.
But Ronnie's style, Ronnie's thing.
Yeah.
We did the cover of It's Only Make Believe,
Yep. With
and
Conway.
which went I think number 2 on the chart.
Yeah, it
so
did real well.
a great experience for us to get to be a part of
It
that.
was.
And really was kind of a conduit for us to know what we were, at least have an idea of what we were doing once the Headhunters,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
once we formed and was then able to go to the studio. Went to the same studio,
same studio.
Sound Shop,
And there
Mike Bradley.
How fun.
And the beginning of the Headhunters was really no more than just getting together and going, hey, let's go play Bowling Green every now and then. Let's go play, maybe we'll play Nashville.
Yeah, we
And-
sneak down occasionally.
And then it became apparent that whatever we were doing, people were latching onto it and they were going, you guys may have something here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just organic the way it happened. It was crazy.
So
But-
you knew each other before or not? Before Dad?
No, I no.
didn't? Okay.
Literally,
Well,
Doug. Yeah.
Okay.
Greg is a distant cousin, to Richard
To the
Fred.
Youngs.
And
No,
played
of course,
with them for years.
I
and
played with
years,
Richard and Fred. I started playing with them in 1968.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
now before when I entered the
I never
picture,
met Doug till
It was-
he auditioned.
yeah, that was
Okay.
our first time to meet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew you knew Richard and Fred, but I thought you guys knew each other before too.
No, I met Doug. Then you finally met Fred somehow.
Yeah, shortly thereafter. Well,
Richard.
another side story here.
Yeah.
When Itchy Brother had, and it kind
Yes.
of got close to that deal, and it didn't happen with Swan
Yeah,
Song Records,
that's
and
right.
everybody went their separate ways. I had met Fred and maybe Richard too by that time, but
You had a club.
Fred was playing a little club in Bowling Green,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to see him one night and told him about the audition for Sylvia.
That's right. You did.
And he ended up going down and auditioning with about 30 other drummers, he said, and he ended up getting the job
Yeah.
with Sylvia while we were still out there with McDowell.
were,
But
yeah.
then we would all converge and when we was off the road and go to the practice house.
Yeah,
and-
you would go rehearse, and then we started
Right.
writing, and that's what made the difference. We started writing songs, and
Yeah.
and it started creating a sound, and then people started, like, you need to come to Nashville. We ended up getting some interest from labels, and then next thing you know, we were signed to Mercury, so it was crazy. But those years with Ronnie were so important. It would have never happened. It never would have happened.
No, those paths all had to converge,
Because we were the Rolling Stones of country music with Ronnie May. We weren't that wild.
No.
But some guy said he went to the Union one day and looking for, this guy told me this. I don't even know who he was. He said, I moved to Nashville and I went to the Union and I said, now, who's looking for a guitar player? And they said, well, now Ronnie McDowell's band. He said, oh no, I hear them guys are crazy. We weren't that crazy.
No, had a good time. We had a lot of fun.
We had fun. We weren't. Oh no, it was that.
You guys did have
had
a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Absolutely.
My dad would not let me go on the bus as I got to be a teenager more because he was like, "Girls do not need to be on this bus," and I was like, "Well, no fair, because the boys got to go.
Yeah,
that was
Ronnie
fine,
Dean
but
got
us
to go.
girls, it was
Ronnie
like,
Dean
not a
was
place for
Ronnie
girls."
Dean was just a little fella. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 5 or 6 years old probably when we first met y'all.
He'd say, "Have you seen my daddy?" Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
So you said you left right when you had your first child then?
Yeah, we Joshua had just been born, and we knew the deal was about to be finished, and so I left just a little bit before Greg did. It was 2 or 3 months before. And I
You know
think
what?
Ronnie finally said, "Okay, Greg."
I tried to stay as long as I could. I was scared. I thought, well, we'll put this, Headhunters will put this album out and it'll go, you know, but it took off. But I thought, but I stayed out there as long as I could. And Ronnie, one day on the bus, said, "Greg, I really love you, but I can't afford 2 guitar players." I brought Anthony Kenny out there and we both were playing guitar. And he said, "I can't afford 2 guitar players." So, in June, I took off and I took a job at a record store for just a little bit.
I didn't
We
know
signed our
any
deal
of that. So I was going to say, when was your deal signed? And then,
July. We signed our deal.
okay.
Yeah, it was July. Yeah,
of
absolutely.
89.
so you knew it was about to happen, and that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I remember, we went on a cruise, and your wife was pregnant, and
Yes.
woo, bless her heart.
She
I
was
remember
sick.
how sick she was.
Oh, every day
Yeah.
she was sick.
She was pitiful. I felt so sorry for
You
her.
were on
I
that
was
cruise.
a child, and I felt so bad for her because she was so sick. And when I was pregnant, my husband asked me, "Do you want to go on a cruise?"
And that
First
was- you
thing
went,
that popped in my head, and I was like, "No, I don't." I remember how pitiful she was.
every day.
I
she
remember
was
Yeah.
sick
that
every
cruise.
day.
It's like, no, while I'm pregnant, I'm not. No. I already learned that life lesson.
That was the cruise that we ported out of San Diego or somewhere in California,
so
right?
then, yeah,
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. yeah.
That's all I remember about the cruise, to
remember
be
that-
honest, was her being sick.
Hey, well, we also
pretty
playing
obvious.
one night, and the waves were crazy, and amps were sliding, and
yeah, the
I do
microphone
remember
stands
that
were
too.
doing this.
Yes.
And we were I went immediately after the show to the room, and
oh yeah, you
I mean,
I
I was afraid I was going to do it on stage.
Yeah, it was my
that
first
was a rough
cruise.
night.
Oh,
was a
I remember
rough
we
night.
about had to carry her off of the boat.
Oh,
She was
bless her.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Bless her heart.
Yeah, I bet she didn't want to go on a cruise for a very long time after that.
No.
Yeah, talk about that kind of putting you off, I bet. Poor thing.
Gosh, so you were out there. I can't. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, Joe was out there too. Joe Metter was out there with us
Oh,
on that
God
cruise.
bless
Oh,
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
We miss
So
him.
Joe was Dad's manager for forever, and he was like a second dad. And
Oh, we love Joe.
yeah, he was
Joe
a
was
good
great.
man. He has recently passed, unfortunately.
We miss
and-
Joe.
We sure
Yeah.
do.
Me too.
Sure do, man. He was a positive force in all of our lives. You know, he was very
Yeah.
encouraging, and he was a soulful. He was
Very soulful.
when he sang. You know, he was just a cool dude. Man.
Mustang Sally.
Yes, he could do it, man.
Yeah, so I have to tell another story. This is one of my favorite stories, okay? From the road, this is one of my favorite stories, except for they would stop at a gas station and somebody would get off of the bus and the bus driver and everybody wouldn't realize that they weren't in their bunk asleep and they would leave people. And back then there were no cell phones. So that was hilarious to me as a child. So luckily there would be fans who would be going to the shows typically and they would just happen to stop at the gas station and they would pick them up and take them to the show.
That's happened.
Did that ever happen to you guys?
We left Big Dave.
Well, with Ronnie, me and Martin got left. Do you remember this? Maybe unless you were gone. We were at a truck stop, and we went in to eat breakfast, and the bus took off, and by the grace of God, a truck driver took us and chased the bus down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Literally.
so great.
Jackie.
Hey, we left
So-
Uncle Willard.
We left Uncle Willard
Oh,
once, and
I
we left
remember
Jackie
that.
Brazel one time too.
Jackie
It's easy.
Brazel.
Hey,
Was he in his shorts?
he was in his long pajamas.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, the rule
Oh,
is if
boy.
you, the rule is you leave something in the seat that makes
that
sense.
would not you
Yeah.
would not normally see.
One of our crew guys in the Headhunters, he laid a cushion in the
He laid a
guy's
seat cushion
and
in
the guy
the
was
seat.
like, that didn't make no sense. So he just took off and left him. Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but
I've
as a
been there.
child, that was one of my favorite things. When I would hear that, I'd just get so tickled. Thinking, you're sitting there watching the bus drive off, going, "Hey, you waiting
Oh
for
gosh.
me?"
Yeah,
It's
boy, it's a
scary.
sinking feeling.
We left-
back then. It
I
was.
don't even know
Yeah.
how did we get Willard back?
I guess we probably turned around and realized he wasn't on the
No,
bus.
no,
Or
we
did
never.
somebody bring him?
Somebody had to end up bringing him, but it was like an hour or two before we even figured out.
Now there was a police officer at one point, or then maybe a highway patrol or somebody that brought somebody
You know, this the only thing I
radioed
remember.
ahead or something. I
It
don't
could have been. The only thing I remember it was like we were going to be playing like Connecticut or somewhere up on the East Coast, and. Do you remember the one guy that was driving the bus and we woke up one morning and we were just driving around Washington, D.C. lost?
Yes, I do remember that too.
I know it's a different subject.
I know.
I mean, this guy he had never driven a band bus. I think he drove
Oh,
maybe
no.
a school
Maybe a
bus or
school
something.
bus or
but he
city
got
bus.
lost, and it was just going around and around. And of course, I don't know how in the God we made it to the show, but we did.
Somehow or another.
We
bet
always
Daddy
made it
was
on time,
livid.
didn't we?
Yeah, even if it was an hour before, and a
We'd
mad
throw our
dash to
gear
get
up
it,
and
throw it up
bam,
and
go do it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the other story that is my favorite, this is like probably my all-time favorite story from on the road, Daddy being on the road after all those years, and it involves you.
I know.
So
I have an idea.
everybody I think that sleeps in the tour bus bunks, they're probably this tall.
Yeah.
So you get
3
in
feet.
these, they're like bunk beds.
They're stacked. Yeah, they're stacked
Yeah.
3 high, kind of. One is usually the junk bunk, as we call them.
Yeah,
And
just
there's
throw
2.
crap in it.
For
Yeah.
years, I've always slept in. If you go into the back of the bus, I've always slept on the left side, second bunk. So go ahead.
I remember
So
this very well.
my dad slept on the very bottom bunk as you walk in on the left, and he was right above Dad. Well, almost everybody on the tour buses at one point will have a dream they're in a coffin, which is terrible.
Yeah.
So my dad had this dream, and he starts pushing the bunk out of its screws, pushes the piece
heard-
of wood
I heard.
and him
Yeah.
up, and is flattening him up against.
Oh yeah. He had me lifted up. And he help me, let me out of here. And evidently, Ronnie said I jumped out of the bunk, and I went and said, "Man, there's something going on with Homer." That was his nickname. Something going on with Homer back there.
Stop the
But
bus!
I
Stop
heard-
the
I heard
bus!
wood-
Homer's freaking out.
I
That's
heard
what you were
wood
saying.
cracking.
Yeah.
These nails and screws were being
Right.
pulled out, and he was freaking out.
That's the
And that
adrenaline
freaked
for
me
you
out.
right there. Now
Yeah,
that's
it
adrenaline.
scared him to death.
Yeah.
That's some strength, though, to push another grown man
yeah.
and the screws and everything. He was getting out of that coffin.
Well, I can tell you another, and these are tellable, shareable stories. Do you remember what we did to Richard Young when he was out with Ronnie? Do you remember this?
The little
The little radio.
little radio up under his pillow.
Yeah, we put a radio. He was asleep, and we put a radio under his pillow. And Richard Lane said, "Hey, there's bugs crawling all over you."
Oh, no.
And Richard started scratching, and he jumped. And then one time he said, "The bus is getting ready to go over a cliff." And and Richard jumped out of the bunk and freaked out. Yeah, there's always this bunch was always pulling.
Messing with everybody
Yeah.
is what it amounts to.
There's other stories we just can't tell you, folks.
Yeah, lots of them I've heard.
Yeah, there's other crazy stories, but
Lots of fun
the Rhythm
stories.
Kings were one nutty bunch, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah. I remember all of my friends used to think, "Oh, you guys are so hot." And I was like, "Let's just scream does. They were like, but they're so hot. And I was like, well, okay, you know, but I was a little kid. I didn't pay that stuff attention because you guys were like family.
You were
so I was
so
That's
nice. Yeah, you guys, yeah, I know. It was, but hey, we had some really good fans. Ronnie had a great fan base, and
Yes.
they supported us. Whatever Ronnie recorded, they were always behind us, and they would follow us everywhere, you know. And a lot of that, when we went off to do our thing, a lot of them followed. There was a few probably still haven't forgive us, you know.
Or a few that was
we had one-
upset that we left.
remember that one lady?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't believe you did that. I'm sorry, honey.
Yeah.
You were going to live your dream, though.
Well,
How could they
yeah.
be mad?
It's just
So-
God's will for us all to do what we did. Just like
Yeah.
your dad, when he broke into the music business, it was fate for him. And then we all had a calling to do something, and we had to do it.
I have
that's
one
right.
right now.
That's
I'm
right, you
living my
do.
dream, and I'm loving it.
I think she's doing a great job. I'm really impressed. But hey,
Well, I'm glad you guys came to do this because I
I'm
really
so
was
happy.
looking forward to it. I really wanted, that was one of my first thoughts. I wanted to have you guys on the show because, like I said, it's family, so gotta have you
absolutely.
A
your
lot of
family.
history, many
guys. So
years.
tell us what you guys are up to right now. I know your tour is insane for the rest of the year.
Yes.
So what are you,
ahead,
other than your
Douglas.
tour, like how
Well,
and what do you got right now?
We're just backing Doug up.
Yeah, they're my no, no. We do have a lot of dates. We are with COVID. You know, a lot of the dates obviously got canceled or moved, and so we did finally take advantage this past March to go in the studio and do a new record, a new album, and it had been a while. Been a little over what 2 or 3 years since we've done an original album.
Actually, was it 2016 when on Safari?
Well, it might have been that long ago.
Yeah,
we
it was
had
2016.
the live thing from
Or 17, one of them.
overseas.
Yeah,
that was a live
2019 on that one.
a
18.
release, but a new original record we did that last March, and called "That's a Fact, Jack." We might as well promote it and
Yeah.
advertise it. And
Absolutely.
And it's on Amazon. I saw that.
yeah, it's available online, and they can check it out too.
Back of our cars, we'll sell you a copy.
Yeah, street corner. No. Anyway, so this year, we did work quite a bit the second half of last year. Things started loosening
We worked
up.
pretty good, didn't we? Yeah.
For about, it started about June. This year, our March and April was 2 or 3 times more than normal. Our May has been a little slower, but then June on through, it's going to be crazy again. So
Yeah, I wrote down some of them. So this sounds crazy. You've got Missouri, Wisconsin twice, Ohio, Tennessee, 2 times in Missouri, West Virginia, New York, Louisiana, New York again, Illinois, Georgia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Virginia,
nuts.
2 times North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and it goes on for till October.
yes.
So you don't even have anything posted past October, so
No,
you guys are
Yeah.
covered
Usually
up.
things slow down in November. There'll be some dates popping.
we'll have, our normal
Yeah.
November will be 4, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days. That's usually when it starts slowing down.
Yeah.
And maybe 1 in December or something like that. But mainly concentrate on the touring and promoting the record at this point.
Yeah, basically, 2020, we started into 2020 with expectations of having another really good year. And
They started.
mid-February, we play the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia, and we were going to have about 3 weeks off. And then the touring, early March, was going to start right back up. And then next thing you know, we were hearing rumblings about COVID. And then, next thing you know, dates are moving forward, dates are falling out, things are locking down. And then we were off from February to mid-June. We finally did the show over at Beaver Dam, the drive-in show.
Yeah.
So after pandemic hit, we maybe did 5 or 6 shows.
Yeah.
And I missed the very last show of mid-November of 2020, because about 3 or 4 hours before I was supposed to get on the bus, I took Ruth and Eric to get tested for COVID, and I said, I better get tested too. I tested positive.
Oh,
And I said, so I couldn't get on the bus with you guys. So we grabbed Chris Robertson from
Yeah, from-
Blackstone Cherry. So that was the end of that year, and we were supposed to go in the studio. Really, we were talking about going in the
even
studio in 2019, but then by the time I got over the COVID quarantine and all that stuff,
It was
holidays.
locked down then. It was locked down at that
Then we
point.
jumped, said, okay, we're going to get together in January. And then finally, February, we started recording That's a Fact, Jack, and it was done by March, April, right?
Yeah, I think they're mixing everything
Yeah.
by April,
Yeah.
sometime in April. Yeah.
So speaking of Beaver Dam, you're going to be there in June with Hank Williams Jr.
When is it? Yeah,
Right?
Is it July or June?
You know what?
know.
Sometime
Hank
they're going to
Jr.
be there with him.
This year, we're going to be there with Hank.
Yeah, we are going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll actually put that up on the screen.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
guys can see. So we'll
Yeah,
let
it'll be
you
the first
guys
time we
know
played with
when that-
Hank in a while.
Quite a few years.
So one of the cool things you got to do too, I don't know if you did, but I know you toured with Leonard Skinner just for fun for a long time. Just having a good time, right?
Yeah, back in '92, Ed King. I met Ed King, the guitarist, at Dallas Guitar Show, like April of '92. And then I was out mowing my yard one day, and I get this call. It was probably around. It was around the end of April, about 2 or 3 weeks after I met him, and I was out mowing my yard, and I went on my little studio phone. It was a call from Ed King. He said, "Hey Greg, this is Ed. Man, I broke my finger. Can you come out and sub for me?"
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was
And so, being younger and really, I wasn't quite the right guy to do it, but I'm glad I did it because them guys are great. It was an honor. I went out and I did about 3-4 weeks with them. And
Wow.
we were off anyway.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
off. We happened to be off. So I toured those guys and actually was offered a gig with them in '94. You hadn't come back yet. You were gone just a little bit.
Yeah.
You had to go off and.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You made some money, didn't you?
Make some money.
Yeah, I started to say,
That's how
you
I
did
got-
well.
I got money. I borrowed money
Yeah.
from him. But no, actually, they offered me a gig in '94. But man, when you got your own band, God bless them, man, they're great guys. But we have our own thing. We can be ourselves, and
Yeah.
good or bad, we are who we are.
yeah.
But
you
what
see
a
is what you
fun
get.
thing to get to
And,
say you've done. though.
We all do different things, when we're off. Richard
Yeah.
manages the Georgia Thunderbolts. He was very responsible for Blackstone Cherry being where they're at. Doug
Wow.
does things, writes songs.
Yeah, they do background vocals and
Yep.
sing demos and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah,
Play some too.
Yeah.
Recordings.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find out that you had how many grandchildren now?
6.
I about fell out. I was like, there's
Yeah,
no way
thinking
you
one
have
or two,
grandchildren, more or less
Yeah.
6. Do you have grandbabies?
Oh, I've got 7.
Oh my gosh. Man, time flies, doesn't
It's a long
it?
story, but yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, both of my kids, because I got 3. I've got John, Sherry, and Eric. But of course, John and Sherry both went through the music thing. They signed record deals. They toured. As a matter of fact, Johnny, when
awesome.
his band Black Cat Bone, when I was out with Leonard Skinner, they were opening up for Skinner. I didn't even know they were going to be out there.
Wow.
I saw Johnny. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" 'Cause they didn't even know it was a last minute thing. But yeah, it's just life is so full of twists and turns, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's an adventure.
Yeah.
It's been an adventure
Yeah.
for all
it
of
is.
us, all
It
3
is.
of us,
Yes,
the crew
it is.
too.
So yeah, for everybody.
Everybody.
So you guys have you have the Grammy, and what else did you do with all of that? Because I know that you got the Grammy.
I sold
but-
mine.
which was so.
Oh no.
I'm just joking. Kidding.
But I mean,
We were nominated for
We nominated 4 times, I think.
4 times
Wow.
and won. We won.
Yeah, we won.
Best
Which was
performance by
for?
the duo or band.
Album of the year.
Well, no, that was the best performance by
Yeah.
duo or band.
We
or
talked
whatever.
about this on the bus the other night.
That was the one we won. We were up for best new artist overall.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Mariah Carey won that year. So beat us
Wow.
out. But now the CMAs. Well, we won the very first one was
We won.
Academy of Country Music ACM Award.
That's right.
Wow.
Best new artist and best new band.
That's right.
And then the CMAs came along and
Album of the year.
We won Album of the Year, Group of the Year,
Producers of the year.
and we didn't know that whoever wins, whoever produces Album of the Year is automatically CMA Producers of the Year. We found that out the next day.
Yeah.
Wow,
So we
that's
were
amazing.
CMA Producers of the Year.
And
I'm
didn't
sure
even know
everybody's
it.
laughing, everybody's scratching their head
I'm
going,
sure,
"What?"
I'm sure all the really big producers are going, oh my Lord.
Yeah, like well, we did. We self-produced our records. So anyway,
I didn't know that
it was
you
an
did
honor.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
The next year we won Group of the Year again, CMA, and then we won an AMA, American Music Award.
Yeah, we
which
sure
is Dick,
did.
Dick Clark's production.
Some Billboard awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys have been
Playboy
so
Music
blessed.
Award of some
Yeah.
kind, whatever.
No.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. We got voted best country album
great.
in Playboy magazine. Anyway,
That is
no,
wonderful.
we've been.
We've been very
Trust me,
fortunate.
we've been,
I'm so
we've been
happy
very
for you
blessed
guys.
and very fortunate.
You deserve it.
Very
Thank
fortunate
you,
and very thankful.
It's
And the
been-
older we get and the longer we do it, the greater appreciation you have
Yeah.
for it, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at our discography the other day, because, and I went, wow, we've done
We've done a few things.
We've done a few things.
Done a
I'm
few
things.
amazed, you
Yeah.
know. And there again, it goes back. If it had been for your dad, a lot of this
Oh,
would.
yeah.
It was a part of the plan.
Your connection was Joe Getsy. My connection was Craig Morris, who was playing
Yes.
piano for
Oh,
Ronnie.
yeah.
And
Craig
we
Morris.
grew up
Yeah.
we grew up in Northeast Arkansas, Southeast Missouri together, separate schools. But he was dating one of my classmates at the time, and she said, I need to introduce you to Craig." And we started
Small world.
my junior year in high school. Started doing little duo things together and writing a little bit and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other.
Wow.
So Craig moved over here in the summer of '81 to play piano in the '50s show at Opryland. And I don't know how he found out about Ronnie Putnam.
That's
being a
interesting,
keyboard
isn't it?
player.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
But I'm not. Yeah, I need to ask that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do
Yeah.
Craig at some point.
We should. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But so
We
Craig's
still
the one who
talk on
called.
Facebook daily, just
Yeah.
about. So
Craig's the one who called me and told me about Ronnie looking
Matter
for a
of
bass
fact.
player and a singer. you
Wow.
know.
Down the road, we should do a Ronnie McDowell band reunion with you.
Oh, that would be
so
cool.
I think
fun.
we'll
Yes,
get
that would be
Craig.
great.
Who are left?
The ones that are left, some
man,
of it,
we've
yeah,
lost-
Robbie
we've
and
lost some.
Jackie and Doug.
Doug
I'm
Anderson.
wishing they're gone.
Yeah.
Bo.
Yeah. Bo.
Oh man.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but we could have some fun, man. We should do
Yes.
that. That's
Well,
what
this
we'll do.
has
That'll
been
be
fun.
that'll
And we'll get
too.
Ronnie. Then we'll
Yeah.
make Ronnie show up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember when I lived in South Carolina, I came to see you guys because you were going to be close to me. So I came and hung out with you guys. I don't even remember
my.
what year it was, long time ago, but
Gosh.
I got you so tickled that night. And I don't know if you were on the bus, but I was early 20s maybe. And for some reason, the whole time that I would listen to Do Miss Walker, I thought that it said, "Let's all go down to," you remember? Yes, Do Mrs. Walker. And I was like, that's terrible.
Now in the
I was
world.
like, what?
There was-
I
there
really
was-
thought it said that for a long time.
Everybody thought, let's all go down and do Miss Walker. Not everybody.
Yes.
There was a DJ.
There was a DJ who
Yeah.
refused to play it, so I'm not playing that filthy song. and we didn't realize. I mean, there's a guy named Dumas Walker, so we didn't even
remember
think
that.
about that until
Yeah.
it was brought to our attention. I went, you know what? It's what it does sound
Well,
like.
you had never heard it when I said it to you, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, Athena!" And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry, but
You know
that's what it
what?
said."
So that must have been when the song first came out. Was it about
It
that
was,
time?
Yeah.
yeah,
it had to-
Maybe.
had to-
right
I was going to say,
after,
so
yeah.
yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, because at
Yeah.
that time, because we've heard stories since then about, DJs refusing to play it. Or they thought the beginning of the song said, "We're not going to play something that sound like Van Halen." We don't sound like Van Halen. Come on, man.
We don't sound like Van Halen.
It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
You do. I thought that was the funniest thing. And when I figured out what it said, I was embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, well, that makes
Oh,
more sense."
Lord.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it does sound like that, but
And people think
Anyway.
ski is whiskey, brewski.
right,
It's just a soft
it's
drink.
a soft
I
drink.
had
a soft
someone
drink.
ask me the other day, "What is a ski?" And I had to explain it to him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Regional soft drink.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
around a long time.
It has been
Yeah.
around for years.
Yeah.
It's been around for years.
Oh yeah, my husband drinks them religiously. So yeah.
Can you guys get ski down here?
No, in Lafayette, so about 20,
Okay.
15, 20
Yeah.
minutes that way. So,
Yeah,
not
we
very
talked about
far.
Lafayette earlier.
Well, maybe a little bit around here, but not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lafayette, Tennessee. I did my first recording session there in 1970, playing on a gospel album. album, the Temple
Wow.
Trio. So
I was 3 then. Not to make you
amazing.
feel bad or anything, but you know.
Oh Lordy, have
Well, you
mercy.
guys, I thank you so much for coming, and I have missed seeing you guys. I hate
It's
it.
been a long
you.
time.
Yeah,
It's
I
been a
haven't
long
hung
time.
out.
We love
so
you.
at all.
You know,
Yes.
we always
Yeah,
loved
we
you.
appreciate you
Your
having us.
family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Part of our lives, you know.
You know, and you know, a lot of folks don't realize that there was a time the Rhythm Kings, Ricky Phelps was out there
Yeah.
on rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
Richard Young was selling merch.
And writing.
And writing songs with Ronnie McDowell. And I mean, we're all out there. And we even
Yeah.
brought Fred out there one weekend. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was, I don't know what was going on. He was off on one weekend.
Yeah. Just come out and hung out with us.
You know, it's all God's plan, you know, how things
Yes.
worked out.
It
Yeah.
really is.
And we can
Very
never thank Ronnie enough and our
The good Lord.
good
above.
Lord. You know.
Right on.
Very much, yes. He has been a big
And,
factor in
all
my
of our-
life, and I'm grateful.
Old Ronnie McDowell friends out there, and if we were crazy at one time, we're still crazy, but we try to keep it in check now.
So you're saying you're sorry?
After all these years.
We're legal now. We're legally crazy now. We just didn't know it back
But
then.
we have a good excuse now. We're,
Yeah.
getting older.
We love our fans. We love Ronnie McDowell's
Yes, we
fans
do.
and Headhunter fans, and come see us. Come
Yeah,
see us. And
come see
remember, we're on social media. We're out there, KentuckyHeadhunters.com, Instagram, Facebook, Fakebook, or whatever they call it.
All the,
No,
Yeah,
it's
we'll
all
put
good.
up the
all
tour
good.
schedule for
Email.
everyone and the website for you guys. So everybody can
Yep.
go to it and check you
Check it
guys
out.
out. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you guys again.
Thank
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.